Since I was 5 years old, still pissing in my Superman drawers. I knew.
All right, here we go. Let's do it. Oh, this hole.
Make sure you get that in there.
It's in there.
Hey, it's Jimmy Lee Lard, the Sock Snob, and we are starting a new series. So you've probably gotten used to the Sock Mob series that Rhonda and I are a part of. RJ, RL, Rhonda, she has 42 and a half. Hell, if they've watched the episodes, they've seen them all anyway, because I call you all of them in one episode. All right, but we wanted to do an LGBTQ specific series, and this one is all about coming out stories. So it's called Coming Out Chicago. And ultimately, we want to give people an opportunity to tell their stories. We have somebody with us today who's been kind enough to tell hers. And we're hoping that these stories will, A, encourage other people who haven't come out yet to come out. Closets are for clothes. All right, we don't do closets. So, hopefully you'll be encouraged to come out. And if not, maybe even straight people who watch this can realize that, gay people are everywhere. We fix your food. We, work in your hotels. We are your physicians. We have 2 physicians in here right now. One you can't see. Just want people to realize that, or really take that stigma away from gay. And in our community, it's like the worst thing you can do is be black and gay. So we want to basically see what we can do to change that. So again, we have RJ with us, and RJ is going to introduce our special guest. Well, wait, first let me introduce Lucy. So Lucy says that she wants to be in this video as well.
She's
coming out. So that's Lucille Ball. All right.
How's everybody doing this evening? Hope everybody's fine. We're going to start off with Dr. Maya Green. She's a physician in Chicago. Has been for quite a few years. She's not originally from Chicago, but all in one saying she's really for Chicago and the LGBT community as well as the people of color, period. So, Dr. Green.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
And I grew up on 95th and Round King Drive.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right, but she said you were not originally from Chicago. What was she?
Yes, which brings me to we're talking about coming out, and initially I was like, well, what would be my story? The earliest experience for myself I can remember. Do you remember when we were young, like 4 and 5, when you start to play that like exploring game 7? I was in Nigeria at the time, in Calabar, Nigeria, and the person that I had my exploration stage with, her name was Tara.
I love it. Exploration stage.
And I remember, in my mind, we were best friends, and we had so much fun together. And I remember she went home and told her dad how much fun we had, and I just remember her dad saying, she came back the next day and said, my dad said we can't be friends anymore because God doesn't like that.
Aww.
And that's my first, the first time I ever recall having something like that going on with me. It hurt. I still remember the pain it hurt because you're taking a lot away from us, and
that was 4 or 5.
That was 4 or 5.
Ooh,
that was 4 or 5. And so my just growing up, we came back to Chicago when I was 5 or 6, and I remember going to school. I went to Burnside Elementary. That's on 92nd, right off Cottage Grove, and I was in a class with 30 children and 2 people, Dr. Keith Green and Dr. Shelley Connor, who are both outspoken activists in the community, were in my classroom.
Oh, wow. So
think about, you mentioned talking about being black and being of the LGBTQ community and the stigma on it. In a class of 30, 3 of us were.
Yeah.
And none of us ever spoke about it until we were adults. And we encountered each other kind of in the community and on the scene. So that's as far as when we talk about the space to come out and be who we are in our own communities and feel safe about it. I know at home, I come from a family of artists. So my mom would tear down any closet you tried to hide in. So you mean no closets? My mom is a no closet type of person.
Gotcha.
So my mom is a very powerful black woman, and so my situation was more her saying, oh, you know, we don't do that because we have gay people in our family. I'm like, Mom, because I never really would talk about my personal life on any aspect with my mom. And my mom was like, well, damn, you gay, right? Well, okay then. And then, so that's how.
Right.
That's
So,
how
like,
it was
what
for me.
age is this? So we.
I think these were 20s, 30s,
Okay,
40s. My mom
yeah.
just, you know, and because I just never, my mom loves us so much. Whoever we date, if it doesn't work, it hurts my mom more than it hurts us. So I still, to this day, don't, you know, and my mom's like, well, you dating her, aren't you?
Right.
Y'all sleeping together?
Did you find that, were you, because a lot of people, there are those who are gay and say, well, I don't need to say I'm gay, you know, straight people don't have to come out. So were you just living your life and just didn't feel the need to come out, or did you just feel uncomfortable talking to your family about it?
I think while I knew I didn't need to, particularly from my my mother and my father, there's not like a need. There was still that perceived stigma in myself. I can't place it because I like a lot of people never owned it. So what I did is I went to school, I went to this, and I went to that, and I worked, and blah, blah, blah. And when I achieved everything that I thought I wanted, then I had to deal with myself.
Yeah.
And that's when it was a problem. So the person that I had to deal with coming out with was myself. Because everybody else was already like, well, damn, you gay, ain't you? You know what I'm saying? So I had to deal with it with myself. So a little bit of both, a little bit of not having a space, a little bit of working in my profession and feeling like you have to jump inside some type of box so that you can navigate the healthcare profession. But in the end, I realized that being who I am attracts people to me that are for me. And the beautiful thing that a lot of people miss is it actually repels the people that are against you, which is good. You know? And we see that as danger, but it's actually a good thing. Now you know
I guess
what
that's,
stand.
hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah. And it being about accepting myself, not necessarily rejecting what other people think I am or how other people want to live, just accepting who I am.
So you seem pretty comfortable with yourself. How long did that take? When did you settle into being, hey, I'm me and to hell with you?
40?
Me too.
Maybe 36. Maybe 36.
Okay.
There's still honestly times when I feel like, and maybe it's because I am with stigma being a woman, stigma being black, stigma being gay, stigma being this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You know, and to tell the truth, I do believe that no matter what form my body took when I came to Earth, there will still be times when I feel uncomfortable with myself. So I can't even say that I've reached the point where I'm like, oh, you know, this is all me, but I am more comfortable coming, you know, manifesting what I feel like I'm here to do. And part of the work I'm here to do is community healing, and that includes the LGBTQ community. And it's just like, we grew up in the church when we were younger, and you know how people go to church, you go to church every Sunday and you pretend to be something you're not. For some people, some saints are real, not all you know. Okay. But you go and you act like you have it all together. You put on your best clothes, even though you may not have money to get there, you know, and you do all these things. And you never, and by not owning who I am, it's just like what I used to see at church. Like, you act like everything's okay, so you never get the healing you need. You know? And so
that's in our community.
Tell me again, Ron?
And I said that's what we have a lot in our community.
Yep.
We never get to the underlying issues.
Yep. That's why I'm glad you all are doing this. I really, really am glad, you know, because, and I love that it's on YouTube, because while people are walking through this process for themselves, or if they have loved ones that are walking through this process, they can log on in the privacy of their own home and just kind of go through this and see other people's experience, and hopefully that encourages them, and hear you share ideas about how to navigate that process. So that's what's up.
You mentioned church. That is another place, aside from the black community, another place is the black church, where being gay, Lord, you can kill 3 people. You come in, you ask for forgiveness. Hallelujah, you got it.
Now tell me you want.
But tell them you gay. And all of a sudden you're going to
Real
hell
stones
and
of hell
everything
is
else. So,
on you.
so how has it been navigating? Do you still go to church, or because you said you grew up going to church? Do you still go to church?
I go to church sometimes, but not like I used to. I do have a relationship with a lot of pastors, not a lot, a couple of pastors in the Chicago community. I know Reverend Bernard Jakes at West Point. They are very LGBTQ affirming.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, and so for that, but when I think about the black church, I always say it's always, when you look at the history in America, it's always interesting what historically oppressed people do once they get the chance to be the oppressor. You know, it's always very interesting. And I think so people who go to church overlap with people who are of the LGBTQ community, and so many other communities overlap.
Yes.
It's not an either or. And for me, the reason why for a minute I had to take a break was it was that need to jump in boxes that we all are greater than. I can't jump in your Christian box and be you. You have to be you.
Right.
You know, and if my lifestyle is not the right lifestyle for you, then you by all means should not live my lifestyle. But you should not be in a space where you're trying to make me a you. I want to be a better me. I don't want to be you. And so and being okay with that. And that was part of my accepting myself, feeling like, hey, I do believe in spirituality. I do believe in the universe. I do believe in a higher power. Now, how do you go there and you feel like you're going to be torn down for something you didn't choose? Right? So something inherently in you is wrong, and like trying to change who you were made to be is not the answer. So for me, it was accepting it. And once I accepted it, the universe or higher power, God, whoever you call it, directed me to affirming spaces that worship.
Gotcha.
And so that was what it was like. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. You answered like 4 of them, so you're fine. So right.
Yes.
So my struggle with finding a church right now is I'm not attending. We've talked about this. I'm talking to somebody off camera. We've talked about this. I'm not attending, or I'm not going to belong to a church that I can't get married in. If I chose to get married and I couldn't get married there, then you can't have my tithes.
Yes.
So I have a few questions for you. Rhonda, if you have any, you can jump in. It's like rapid fire. No. So when was the earliest that you knew you were gay?
4, I guess. I knew I liked what
That's
I was
pretty
doing.
early, so yeah. I didn't know what the hell I was at 4.
I didn't know what people was calling
I knew we used to rub on little boys' boot. No, I'm just playing. In the coat closet. I'm just
I didn't know the term. I didn't know people had. I didn't know the box.
Gotcha,
But I knew that I loved the energy of a female.
Okay. Who has been the most difficult person to tell?
Me.
Me? Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Who's
Very
the most
good.
surprising?
Who was the most surprised? Me. I don't know. Nobody. It's not like when people found out, they were like, "What?" Oh yeah. So coworkers, honestly, and that's not something you always discuss at work. But the field I work in, sometimes it overlaps.
Gotcha.
And they'll hear, and so the thing that's hurtful about that is they say things like, "Oh, you're too pretty to begin." It's like, what's wrong?
Oh, yeah.
Women are pretty, and that's why I'm gay. Like,
Right. There we go.
yeah. So yeah, that was. What's the next question?
What do you have? No. Okay. Very good. Well, yeah. Well, that's good. Your story's good. Because everybody, I like your story because everybody thinks that, the coming out stories is, I got put out. I was 10 and my mama put me out and all, you know what I mean? So.
And those stories are real. And then the thing that I saw this, how you see these things on the internet and they're like, gay people make bad parents. And it's like, well, what gay family puts their child out for being straight?
Right.
Like, you're right.
Yeah. Or if you're gay, your kid's gonna be gay. My son is as straight as they come. So is mine. So. Yeah.
And I mean, while we live in communities where sometimes being in the LGBT community can be harmful to you. So we definitely want people to be safe. I look forward to a space in the world and seeing what it would look like if people were very accepting of who they are and approached it in a way. So when I, like my aunts and things like that, I just introduce them to the person that's with me, and there's no space for them to dialogue. And actually I did have a conversation with my brother once, and he was like, oh, I wish you would have talked to me. I wish you weren't gay. And, like, not in a bad way, because my brother's also my closest friend. I think he was saying he felt like my life would be harder if, and I remember telling him, well, you're married.
Yeah.
Do you ever recall yourself asking me if it was okay to date her? Now, why would I ask you if it was okay for me, And so those are conversations that I think we need to have. And I look today where people introduce the people they love are open to love each other without regard into what other people say. Because I think part of it is we get scared of what the other person is going to say, and then that gives them space to put an opinion. But when I approach it like, hey, this is so-and-so, and that's it, and we're like, so, nice jacket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It is
And
what it is.
it is what it is. And
I do have one question for you, Dr. Green. What would you tell a little 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old girl?
In our community, sometimes it's about being safe, and then sometimes it's about accepting yourself, because at the end of the day, I find like as long as I accept myself, and once I accepted myself, what you or anybody else actually thinks about it, doesn't super matter, but in a society where we're so pressured to please each other, like think about we're so pressured to be people pleasers and to be common and have all these things in common, that being different a lot of times could be a huge problem. So I would say, like, trust yourself, know yourself, and be yourself.
Be you.
Yep.
And on that note, we will bring this to a close. Thank you so much, Dr. Green.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming. We appreciate your story and sharing your truth. So, check us out on YouTube. For this series, I don't know yet what you'll be able to search. So, for now, you can just search Jimmy Lee Lard. You can still probably get to this video searching the Sock Mob. We're also on Instagram, The Real Sock Snob on Instagram. So, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. Like, share, and comment. All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye.